The end of the year has kind of suffered a little bit with the lack of like big gaming news, but I do feel like this is a little bit of a good thing and bad thing in terms of what Microsoft is announcing here. We heard some things that I would consider to be very good, and we heard some things that I consider to be a little bit more of a shame and kind of disappointing. But still, at the end of the day, gamers are going to be excited. Good things come, bad things come, and I think that maybe the bad thing could have been having to do a little bit with Microsoft jumping the gun a little bit on something. So I do also think that Microsoft has obviously come a long way since the days of the Xbox One in 2015, 2016, where they're canceling a bunch of games and closing down a bunch of studios and things like that. But I still think that they worry about their perception, so that when bad things do happen within their organization, they're afraid to cancel anything anymore, or afraid to do anything wrong for fear of getting chastised and stuff like that. And with that, I do at least understand a bit, and I just think that it's just one of those things that happens. So I am looking forward to get into this video, because I think it's going to be a classic Crap Gamer video that you're not going to want to miss. Hey there everyone, I'm the Crap Gamer, and of course this is Crap Gamer Reviews, your home for gaming news, opinions, reviews, and much more. You'll probably notice a few cool changes around here, and hopefully that doesn't stop you from giving us at least a like, and maybe even consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some of your free time with me today. It really does mean a lot. Happy New Year, Merry New Year, all that kind of good stuff. Stay safe, happy, healthy, all that kind of great stuff. Game on, have a good time. That's what's really going to be the most important. Now, I want to start a little bit with the bad news. The bad news is, and if you guys know, I was actually pretty excited about, it looks like Everwild is seeing some development trouble. Now, when I mentioned earlier about jumping the gun, this is kind of what I was talking about. Everwild got shown off originally, and we had no idea what the game was about. That's because Rare didn't know what it was about, and not pretty soon after they announced the game itself and showcased a trailer for it, the creative director left, and so they don't have an idea what it is. If we do happen to get this game years from now, it's not going to be what was originally promised. In my opinion, they probably should just cancel this and move on to the next thing, since the next thing is what it's going to be anyway, and they're just going to call it Everwild. So I really do think that they probably jumped into things a little bit too quick. So a major exclusive coming to Xbox Series X in the future is reportedly going through a tumultuous development cycle. The game in question happens to be Everwild, which is a new project from Rare. That studio that almost recently released Sea of Thieves in 2018, despite announcing Everwild all the way back in 2019, Rare hasn't said much about the game. In addition, some shifts at the company led fans to believe that the title could be in a bit of trouble. According to one trustable insider, those concerns seem to be well placed. In a new episode of a podcast, video game journalist Jeff Grubhub shared that he has heard that Everwild in recent months. In short, Grubb said that Rare is having a difficult time with Everwild, notably because the studio doesn't even know what the game is supposed to be. Everwild is a real mess, he said. Rare are trying to talk diplomatically about it when they're in public, and they're like, oh, people hear things about a creative director leaving and their things getting rebooted, and that's overstated. But he reaffirms it as actually not overstated. They've rebooted that thing, and they don't know exactly the state of it. In terms of what to expect, they don't really know about it. They're still figuring it out, and it's a bit of a mess. Earlier in the year, another new project shared some info suggesting that the rebooted nature of Everwild meant that the game wouldn't be launching for quite a long time. Specifically, 2024 or later was said to be a window that was looked at optimistically, quote-unquote, for when it could arrive. Considering Grubhub's latest report, it does sound like it could be even further away, since Rare still doesn't know what to do with the project. Assuming that all of this is true, it definitely sounds like we shouldn't expect Rare to talk about Everwild again publicly for quite some time. So again, this is a bit of a thing. Do you trust it? Listen, where there's smoke, there's fire. Grubhub isn't the only one saying this. There's a lot of other people saying, hey, this game was never actually a game. There were people inside that said, hey, you know what? This game was actually something that never was actually a thing. They really just kind of put together this CGI trailer. And again, that was a product of Microsoft getting into their own heads, realizing that they hadn't announced anything for a long time, and hopefully that's hopefully that's something that people kind of realize that comes with this kind of stuff, right? Listen, games can get canceled. Games do get canceled. They shouldn't be afraid to cancel something just because of some backlash from some people, right? Like, at the end of the day, do what's best for your fans. Like, this game was announced in 2019. If it's not going to be ready for, 4 or 5 more years still, maybe just cancel it and do something else. Listen, I know some of you guys aren't privy to a lot of this stuff, but believe it or not, a lot of studios have more than one team, right? Like double teams, 2 teams working on stuff. A lot of times the smaller teams will work on like proof of concepts or little things. Back in the day, in the 360 era, believe it or not, Rare and Lionhead used to have things all the time in the pipeline, and those things got canceled, and we never even knew about it. And I can tell you right off the top of my head, Cameo 2 got canceled, and a Xbox 360 kart racing game got canceled. So yeah, we know that things get canceled. We know that there's other things. Lionhead had a different RPG or something canceled at one point. These things shouldn't be announced until they're sure that they're going to be a thing and they have an idea and at least have some type of gameplay. I think they are trying to rectify that, but I just think that, sometimes this stuff happens. The bit of good news is there's a Disco Elysium style Obsidian RPG rumored for 2022. 2021 has nearly drawn to a close, which raises the question, what can we expect from big publishers and console makers in 2022? Well, Jeff Grubhub provided another tantalizing detail and hint about what we might see from Xbox Game Studios in 2022. According to Grubhub, Project Missouri, rumored to be a Disco Elysian-style combatless murder mystery set in 16th century Europe, may be on track for 2022. The Obsidian game is said to be the brainchild of Neverwinter Nights 2, Fallout New Vegas, and Pillars of Eternity creator Josh Sawyer. So it's definitely one to keep an eye on. In addition to the Disco Elysium-inspired game, Grubhub also claims that 2021 might see the release of Project Belfry, which is said to be a lushly illustrated Diablo-style action RPG from the makers of Banner Saga. So they also go into this article, which these are 2 different articles based on this podcast, about Everwild and the problems it's having. Look, just don't get any hypes up or hope up for Everwild. That game is either done or we'll never see from it again. We'll have to see what happens, but yeah, I just don't really think that it's going to have a great chance of coming out and doing much, just to be honest with you. I think that they sort of dropped the ball with that one. I probably announced it a little bit too early, but hey, what do I know? We'll have to see. So that is a little bit of bad news, but like I said, there's always going to be some good stuff as well, and so that's the exciting part. That's the thing that I'm excited about, and I know you guys are probably getting excited about it as well, hopefully anyway. So, anyway, let me know what you guys think. Please sound off. Thanks for watching. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, crap gamer 'em up. Have a fantastic new year. Stay safe. Crap Gamer out.